Guess what?
Oh my goodness.
Today is officially 1 year of the podcast.
Oh my gosh, can you believe it?
So exciting. So happy anniversary. Oh, that is so scary. Hey, friends.
Hey.
Guess what?
Oh my goodness.
Today is officially 1 year of the podcast.
Oh my gosh, can you believe it?
So exciting. So happy anniversary. Oh, that is so scary.
Happy anniversary. This is amazing.
So scary.
But it was amazing. It was great. We are 1 year, like literally 1 year of doing the podcast. And what an exciting milestone.
I know.
I mean, you know, when you get these things started, you're like, yeah, we'll go that long. Of course we're going to go that long. But then you get into it and it's like, are we doing this? Right? Are we really doing this? Because remember, we got to that place of there's the excitement of doing it. It's the honeymoon of we're doing a podcast. This is so awesome. This is so great. But then there's that long middle.
I remember there were moments of where we were just like, just show up.
Just keep going.
Keep doing the thing.
Because it's all about what it means. It's all about what we're trying to do. What is the purpose behind what we're doing?
Yeah.
And so
today is going to be a little bit more of a lighthearted conversation.
Yeah, totally.
We're going to reflect. We're going to talk about some of our own marriage struggles on like what the podcast has brought out and where we want to see things go for year 2.
So exciting. And the personalities in us, she's more party, I'm more
confetti.
Yeah. So the fact that I did the confetti was a big deal. So
I mean, my ear is still
it's a good thing we put Louie out, like we put the dog out, because that would have been
that would have been traumatizing. Because I'm a little traumatized.
Yeah, a little bit. So honey's gonna be kind of leading this because she's the party. She's the party in a box. So I'm excited to be a part of your podcast.
Oh, good. That's exciting. Okay. So the first question is what was your first thought after we recorded our very first episode?
Okay. Well, my first thought was, I'm surprised because when we first started, I remember our producer, Easy, he's like, why don't you guys talk for like an hour 15? I'm like, are we going to be able to talk that long? And literally, I was surprised on how quick the hour went, and we could have just kept going. So I walked away going, okay, well, that's one hurdle that we don't need to get over because apparently we can talk for an extended amount of time.
Apparently, we're a little obnoxious that way.
I think that's probably true.
Okay, so I would have to say that it's like our first episode was so interesting because we were both so nervous. But our first episode was really just us talking about us and our story. But it was like, I was like so nervous to share certain parts of myself and be like ultra vulnerable. And so it's like, which is weird because I'm a very honest person anyways. But I just remember like after the first episode going, oh my gosh, did we just put that out there? What are people going to think? What are people going to say? Like, I just remember being like oh my gosh, like, okay, we're doing this. Okay, there's no turning back.
Well, because initially in our minds, it was, the people that are going to first tune in are going to be those that know us.
Right.
And so, and many that don't know us to that degree and are going to find and learn a lot about us, which that part's exciting, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking. And then you're learning a new platform. You're learning, how does this work? How do you in the beginning, I remember I was trying to be a certain way. Then later I kind of changed. And then you have to find your legs in what this medium looks like.
Totally. And I think that we've really hit like a good synergy and a really good balance between like faith, because I know that there was a big discussion on how much of a faith focus do we want to be, and reality. Because
that's our life. Our life is very centered on faith, and I know when we talked, our intention was we want to reach the greatest audience. And so we knew faith was going to be a part of it, but we didn't want to scare people away.
We didn't want to become a Christian podcast.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Okay, so what was the moment that made you think, oh my gosh, people are actually listening?
Well, I was stuck on views very early in the process. So I was really looking at but how many views were we getting on YouTube and all this stuff. So the first couple episodes, I saw the traction and I was like, oh, people are listening. And then we go to church and then there's people that are just like, hey, listen to your podcast. Because we're never like, hey, listen, everyone. We have we didn't let anybody really know. It was just something that we did. We had our launch party and kind of stuff like that. But there were so many people just like, hey, we listened to it, we loved all this other kind of stuff. That was when I was like, okay, more people are listening than just know us personally. And I got to step in here because if you see this episode, this is going to bug you. You have a confetti thing right there.
Oh, thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, there's so much confetti
it's everywhere. Actually, when we were thinking about doing the confetti thing, I'm like, is there any heat sources in here?
Oh my gosh, of course you'd be paranoid.
See, you're welcome to those of you that thought the same thing, right? But yeah, so that's when I really, because there was we were getting a lot of traction those first early episodes.
Yeah, I would say early on, we had so many people reach out to us and it was so encouraging. And then it's like when we had to kind of pivot onto like new platform, it was really interesting because it's like there were some people that didn't move over. Yeah. And it was just like, it was one of those things that we were like, oh my gosh. But then it's like, I think what happened is that the podcast kind of took on its own identity,
which it needed to,
and it's been really good.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that it's like we really did want to do is we really want to shout out Easy, who was the original producer. He was the one that approached us.
It was born in his heart.
Yes,
that's where this podcast was born, and he had us in mind, and he had to chase us down. We're like, we don't want to add a podcast. What does that even mean? We don't even we kind of ghosted him for a little while. We're like, I don't know, but
we didn't know if we had the bandwidth. We didn't know if it was a passion. We were like, podcast,
who wants to listen to us talk about marriage? It's just, but it was really easy, really pursuing us and persevering through. And, shout out to you, Easy. We appreciate you. You and I remember in the first,
and Monique was huge on just really
his wife
encouraging the process.
Yeah. They both really encouraged us to keep going, and it bore something in us that because we never would have done something like this.
We would have never done it.
No, because it just wasn't even on our radar. And so thank you, Easy, because you got us started.
Yeah, amazing. So SD Productions.
SD Storytellers.
Oh, SD Storytellers.
Yeah.
So follow them on social media.
Yep.
Watch out for them because they're a big production company in San Diego. So
good stuff.
We love Easy and we love Monique and we love their family. And okay. What was the one episode, I have mine, that you were most nervous to release?
Well, it's definitely the emotional one where it was the affair. It was
the emotional affair.
Yeah. So
for sure that was mine.
Yeah, because it was us revealing, because we both have our part in different parts at different times in our relationship as a whole, not all in marriage, but in our relationship as a whole, where that was a real thing. And that was definitely the toughest for me. That's the most nervous I've been on the podcast, because it's just really revealing a very deep, same for you, a very deep, vulnerable place because nobody knows that. Nobody knows those things. And we expose that, which is great. It's empowering because you get to do that and you help people through it, because you can get through it 27 years later. So that was mine.
I think that what was so difficult about that episode was that, we post these short clips on social media of the episode. And we had a couple of the clips from that episode in particular go viral.
Yeah.
And it was so hard to hear the comments.
Very ugly. Yeah.
Because the comments were so brutal and ugly.
Not to me.
And only to me.
To you.
And I think that was something that actually kind of caused me to kind of go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I did kind of go inward for a good, I mean, I would say probably good 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it was hard for me
You're pushing through
to show up and get into the podcast again, because it was like I felt so misunderstood. And for an Enneagram 7, like that's really hard for an Enneagram 7 type to feel misunderstood. And like people didn't know the whole story because they were seeing like a 15-second clip.
It was unbelievable.
And so it was just that one was probably the hardest for me.
Yep.
And it was also me being the most vulnerable. So someone like attacking me in my vulnerability, that was so rough.
Oh yeah. It was very difficult. I agree.
So yeah, that's by far the hardest one. Okay. So what has surprised you the most about doing a podcast together?
Not that I didn't think we had, because good chemistry, because we've done ministry together, we've pastored together, we do events together, and we just work really well. I was surprised. Now, we had to find our footing because you had to figure out who you were in the podcast. I had to figure out who I was, and because it's different. What I found is it's different than us just kind of free talking at an event or something like that, where it's really easy for us. We had to find our chemistry here, and that was the one thing that we found that not impressed me, but it surprised me that it came easier than I thought maybe that it would.
Mm-hmm. Early on, there were certain moments that I can like look back on, and I go, oh my gosh, like we worked that out, but I didn't even remember us really working it out. Like we always had, like, are we going to talk about the episode before? Are we going to, how much are we going to prepare?
Yep.
And you prepare very different than I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of more like, oh, it's just going to come together and it's going to be amazing. And it's like, I'm kind of like the fart in the whirlwind, like your mom would say.
Which is great because it comes with very real, on the spot. And that actually started with Easy. Easy was like, I don't want you guys talking together. I want you to just come and just talk. We just want to hear you talk. But that not being my personality, I needed to prepare more. And then I did a season of not really preparing a lot. Then I felt insecure because I didn't really have a lot to bring if it wasn't a subject that was like really deep in me.
Yeah. And
then I went the other way to prepare. So I've kind of, at least when you talk about coming to the table, it really had to. The thing is finding yourself, which is so weird.
Exactly.
When we are ourself, but in this medium, there is a way that you need to communicate. If you're trying to communicate something that's tangible and helpful, it needs to come with intention, as opposed to just like whatever. Like, let's just talk. And if we're just naturally funny or something like that, where all you need to do is just sit down and start talking, and you're just hilarious.
I mean, the hard part is that marriage isn't always funny. Most of the time it's not.
Oh, I was going to say.
And it's like, and that's the part that it's like sometimes, like I've looked forward to this episode for about 6 weeks because I'm like, we get to just be like light and easy breezy.
Yeah. No, totally.
It's like, this is my type of episode.
Yeah.
Like let's just bring out the confetti cannons all the time. Okay. So we're going to do rapid fire.
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, I got a couple too.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Oh, no.
Are you going to do them right after?
You just go. You just go.
So I only have 3.
Okay.
Quick. Who talks more?
You.
Who derails the conversation more?
Me.
Who preps the least?
You.
That's it.
Who interrupts the most?
You. 1,000%.
I know that's true, but I just
like not even Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep
And
going.
actually, well, no, because you took two of the ones that you had. I was going to.
Oh.
See, this is one part when you don't talk, you can run into that situation where, you're talking about the same thing. So, okay. Oh, there we go. What's something that I say that annoys you? That I often say that annoys you?
You compliment me.
Okay, I'm going to ask for comments in the feed on how bad that really is. How bad is that? Okay, so
it makes me uncomfortable
okay.
because I don't like the attention on me.
You look beautiful today, by the way.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move into kind of like what the podcast has taught us about marriage.
Yeah.
So this is where it's like we're going to be kind of diving into, like some of the things that like we've dealt with. Because I think that one of the things that we've always like really pushed on is growth over perfection.
Yep.
That's why it's called Imperfectly Married, because it's like we're all about like you don't have to do things perfectly. Just because something works for us doesn't mean that it's going to work for you.
Correct.
And I also think that there's been quite a few things that we've talked about on the podcast that it's like the next week it's like we'll have a conflict or we'll be talking about something and I can see you kind of like shift and go, so tell me more about that. And I'm like, I'm all shut up.
Yeah, well, no, honestly, because there's things that we know to be true, we believe in fully, but then putting them into practice all the time sometimes is difficult. And so we have such a desire to be authentic. We never want to be fake. We never want to put on a show that is not who we truly are and what we truly believe. So I feel responsible in those moments to be who I claim to be, try to be, because I want to be true. And so those things of like showing up and having grace for one another and really progress can be celebrated as opposed to this perfect, like you reach, like things like that where wanting to really become the person that I believe I need to be in our marriage. This podcast has helped me do that more. Absolutely not perfectly, but has helped me take steps towards being who I know I can be.
I love that.
How about you?
I would say that I think the podcast has really helped us in our marriage. I think it's helped us to be better. I think we've been slower within our conflict and within our conversations. I mean, the interesting part of this is that this has probably been the craziest year, if you listen to our previous episode, just like health-wise and emotionally for me, like we've probably actually had our largest fight that we've ever had in this last year.
Yeah.
But our recovery was really quick.
Yeah.
And I mean, also it was a lot of health issues and that kind of stuff that spurred that on. But I think that, I just think that there's so many things that it's like we talk about. So it's like, it's always on the top of our minds, how to communicate, how to speak to one another.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like sometimes I think that a marriage podcast can be kind of one of those things that you listen to on like the emergency level to where it's like, oh, we're in crisis, so let me listen. Yeah. And really what we should be doing is we should be listening every single week, because what it's doing is it's keeping your marriage top of mind.
Forefront. Absolutely.
And it's helping you to remember, oh yeah, communication is important. Like I think every single episode that we've had, we've talked about communication.
Yeah.
And
we always will.
Yeah. And like conflict resolution and, you know, showing up
Repairs.
for each other. Yeah. It's like we've talked about so many things, but we're always talking about those same things that just help you to be able to be like, oh, like I just know for us, I think that that's been like one of the things that it's been really pivotal for us.
What's one thing that you've learned about me this year that surprised you?
That was my next question
Yes.
to you.
I won.
Gosh, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's one thing that I have learned about you?
Me in this last year that surprised you?
I think the episode that we did a couple weeks ago, that was all about, it was about like the way that you process like our conflict. And it's like you had that huge revelation of like, oh, what you were hearing me say, because I communicated to you what was actually going on internally. And you just had this like huge aha moment
Like
of
on the episode.
yes. And you were like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy because it's like I've never heard it that way. And it helped you to be able to process what was going on in you internally was actually a lie, that what was actually happening in our conflict was what I was trying to communicate, but you had never heard it that way. And so I think that was one of the things that it's like has kind of like blown me away, is just through some of our natural conversations in here, we've been able to kind of like come up with like some like really great insights into our own relationship.
Mine's kind of similar for you because I've always known you were a deep well, like a really deep well of thought, and the expansiveness of where your mind goes in a subject on the fly is something that I didn't see as often, because we don't have deep, like we're not always having deep subject matter conversations.
Right.
So it's not necessarily going to draw that out of you, but I remember the first 6 months of the podcast. Every single podcast, I would just be thinking, and I'd tell you occasionally, like, there's so much more to you that I'm so glad that our viewers get to see and our listeners get to hear. Even more so the people that know you that don't get any of this because they're just not exposed to it. It's hard for me to say that surprises me because I've seen it in other environments before, but not nearly as often as we have it here. And it's all the time. It's all the time here. And it's just really cool because it's great as your husband to be able to see you being truly who you are through this podcast. It's really cool to see. Doesn't surprise me, but the volume that you're able to do it and it not just be a rehearsed thing is just super cool. So that's really cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know you don't like when I
Thanks.
compliment you, but
I know I'm really uncomfortable right now.
okay, good. Okay.
All right. So what's one topic? See, I'm
Right on. Okay.
I'm going to
We're
switch.
not even going to talk a little bit about that. We're just going to move on.
What's one topic that we talked about that convicted you personally?
I'm going to have to say we've talked a lot about communication. I keep a lot of things to myself because that's my personality. I process internally and I don't communicate it. We were on a walk yesterday and you specifically asked, "How are you doing?" Right? And I had a lot to say.
Yeah, you did. I was surprised.
Because I know that I need to you need that from me. And so it's understanding the importance of communicating my meanness to you, and that's definitely what, and continue, because it's on my mind all the time, because we do a marriage podcast. It helps me to keep that in mind, that's so specifically the internal parts of me, and audibly explaining those things in my process and stuff like that you so want to know.
Yeah. And I have really appreciated you like kind of leaning into that too.
What about yours?
What was the question? What's one topic that we talked about that convicted me personally? Oh, totally. My tone and like my nonverbals.
Oh, that's totally what it was. I could have said that.
Because it's like, I'm really working on it, and I feel like it's gotten better.
Absolutely it has.
Because it's this. It's what? What?
Yeah. And to you, you're honestly just asking the question.
And yes, and it's so frustrating for me, because it's like my facials, it's because I'm in the middle of work and I'm stressed out. And actually, I think that actually has a lot to do with the unspokenness 100%. Of it, is that it's like, I actually don't think that since I lost my job, I've responded like at all. Like if you talk to me while I'm in the middle of working now, it's like, oh, what?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It's totally. Like not a big deal.
Much different.
And so it is a product of my environment. Yeah. Not to make an excuse, because I really have tried to work on that.
No, you have. You absolutely have.
But yes. Okay. So the last year, it's been an interesting year, and it's so interesting doing a podcast, because we have certain days that we like record, and we have to show up, and we have to do things. And I can remember one particular episode that we did, and I don't even remember what the topic was, because I was so like, oh my gosh, we had just gotten into a fight or an argument, and
thank you.
We were arguing in the kitchen, and we were on a deadline because we had to record. Yeah. And we were arguing in the kitchen, and I just go, well, come on, we got to go do this. And it was like, we were in the middle of like a conversation, and it was just like, we either have to do it now or we're not going to do it. And you were like, no, we're not going to do it. And I'm like, yes, we are, because it's like, we had to. And then it was like, that was probably one of the hardest episodes for me, because I don't like showing up inauthentic.
Totally.
And I just remember that probably being one of the more difficult like episodes that we did. And it was really interesting, because I don't remember what the argument was about. I don't remember a lot about our episode or anything like that. But I do remember that once the episode was over, it was like the tension had died down, and nothing was perfect, but we were like, all right, so you ready to go to bed and watch a show or something?
Yeah, you want to just go and... No, totally. No, I remember, because I don't know what the topic was either. I have no idea what we did. But I remember having that episode and having to...
muscle through.
Just put on a good face. Now, viewers, that's not what we do. We like being very real.
But you could probably tell that our chemistry wasn't where it normally is. Yeah.
I'd be interested to go back through and just try to find it.
Because I bet you when we read our topics, I bet you it would trigger us.
Yeah, because we've had a couple episodes where we're done. We're like, okay, well, I mean, we tried.
Was there a moment that, like, has there been anything that's happened during an episode that you're like, oh, shoot?
Like in what regard?
Just any regard. Have you had that oh shoot moment? Like that you weren't listening, that like I asked you a question, that something happened outside. I remember dogs have barked a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's been twice that I've been blank on what you're asking, and I have nothing to give. Zero.
I have
nothing to give. Like because this is what happens because I can get insecure in this where you're in this deep well of really, really good substance. And I'm not there.
And you're like scrolling your iPad.
No,
like,
I'm
okay,
like,
what can I say?
Like, what can I bring to this that's not going to be like, yeah, I'm not there. So there's been a couple of those, which has drawn me to make sure that I have our content and what we're trying to bring in me. Like, if it's something that I've had to learn, it's a little harder. If something that we've gone through, it's no big deal. But if you're trying to learn it yourself and be like, no man, this is good stuff, and then try to be an anchor for a podcast, it's a struggle sometimes. And then you have the dog and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
all in all, we haven't had a lot of.
We've had 2 episodes that we've had to re-record because one, the cameras went off in the middle of the episode. Another one, we were just like, that was a horrible.
Like we got done, and it's like there's no redeeming value.
We got done, and we looked at each other, and we were like, that was not good.
Like not good at all.
Like we didn't have chemistry.
Oh my!
It was like we were all over the place.
Yeah.
And it was just like we were like, should we re-record that? And the next day we like re-recorded it, and we at the end we high-fived.
Yeah, we're like, this was
so much better.
That's exactly what we needed to do. No, it was really good, and I'm glad we redid that one.
There's been times where you go off on this really long tangent.
That they're always amazing.
No, yeah, they are. But then you pause for me to respond. And I'm like, I have nothing to say after that. Like what am I supposed to say? And it's because you don't ever lead in with like a question. You just go, and you just look at me, and I'm like, what are you looking at me for?
I know what you're talking about.
I'm like, how do I? Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
I think one time I did say that. I was like, yeah, that was good. I'm like, you need to leave the conversation after a long tangent.
Yeah, because it's so funny because I think I remember I've done that a couple times and feeling like, man, I should have helped kind of lead her into something and like give her somewhere to go as opposed to.
Because it's like you just said everything.
And done. And what's next?
Oh, that's so funny. Well, we've definitely had a year for the books. I think that it's like
we're still in the middle.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out and that kind of stuff. And it is sometimes difficult to show up, but I do have to say that it's like having the podcast studio in our home allows us a little bit more freedom in our schedule to be able to, on those days where we're just like, ooh, like we just can't do it. Like I think that's been a really big win, but that also goes to show that it's like just because it's like we're doing a marriage podcast doesn't mean that our marriage is perfect like all the time. It's imperfect.
This is what I love about the concept of doing this, because Easy was like, hey, I want you guys to do a podcast. We love it. And then we got to kind of carry
the name.
What is it?
And the vision.
And the vision behind it, which was great. And I was insecure about doing a podcast just because I looked at our marriage and I'm like, there's so many things that I don't do well, and so it was very uncomfortable for me to do that. And then really starting to grab the vision of that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
You're married, you choose to show up, and you keep going.
Yeah.
That alone is encouraging to couples. And that's what I know we really hold on to as the thing. We always say, even it's just for the one couple out there that listens and just leaves encouraged and goes home and talks to their spouse maybe in a different way, in a more loving and compassionate and graceful way.
Yeah.
And that could save something. That's why we keep going.
Yeah.
Absolutely every time.
Is there an episode that you feel that didn't get enough attention? That you in particularly liked? but then didn't get enough attention.
So there's been several episodes that I feel, because I can't pick one because of all of the things that I just said. In every episode, there is a potential for restoration in people's relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because of who we are. It's practical realities that are being deposited in people's lives should they accept them. And
Yeah.
I would say that there's several episodes that don't get enough attention, and because this is supposed to be fun and everything like that, but I really believe that there's some really great opportunities for relationships in some of those episodes, and
Yeah.
I feel that there's several.
I think our first episode that we had a guest on with Summer and Assad, I feel like that episode didn't get enough attention.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like such a great episode. I'm looking at our list of episodes right now.
What was the name of that one? It was the emotional, not safety.
It was developing emotional intimacy.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that one was a really great one.
Wow. Yeah.
But then I also think that I think our job loss episode, I think, was really good and really like vulnerable.
Real. Yep.
And I feel like that one was really good. And then also just like our Enneagram episodes, I think they're really great, but people don't necessarily like understand fully the Enneagram. So
it's quick to just pass, like, I'm just not into that. It's cool.
And it's like, it feels like too specific, but the reality is that it's like, they're so helpful.
Man, helpful and powerful.
And I've actually learned a lot by us like
studying,
researching and that kind of stuff. So
totally.
So I love those. I'm
going to ask a question.
Yes, go.
Right now, what would you tell a couple who feels stuck right now?
Well, can I ask a question?
You can.
Because I would ask them, like, do you want to be unstuck?
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that.
So it's like, because the reality is that it's like, just because you're stuck, like one person may not want to be unstuck. Mm-hmm. And like, if you're both willing to be unstuck, then the conversation is so different. If you're both willing to put in the work, then the conversation just, it goes in a different direction. Because if you're dealing with one person that is wanting to work things out and then the other person already has one foot out the door, then the conversation is very different, because then the conversation is more directed towards the person that has one foot out the door. And then the question is what do you need? Because anyone that has one foot out the door has an unmet need that has like spiraled and avalanched into this bigger thing, but it started with one specific unmet need.
Let's say it, then let me present this. If there is a couple that they just don't get along very well, but they're in it, it's just very difficult. What should they start doing today?
Communicate. Rebuild. Like go on a date. Like, what were the things that you enjoyed when you were dating, and reignite some of those things. You know, it could be as simple as just like sitting down and watching a show and just being side by side next to each other, because maybe you haven't even had that close of intimacy in your relationship in a very long time. So it's all about doing the little things that can get you a little bit closer, but knowing the intention behind it. So you just don't do things haphazardly. You do things that it's like have intention behind them.
Yeah.
And so I think those are the things that really can move the needle on a marriage that is maybe a little bit more tension filled.
I would also add to that, trying to refocus your mind and being very intentional about refocusing your mind on the things that you appreciate about your spouse.
Oh, gratitude goes so far.
It's difficult, especially when all you can see is the negative, and that's what's been driving your relationship. But taking an intentional step of going, I'm not thinking about the negative, or I'm going to try to think less about the negative and try to find one or two things that I appreciate. Anybody can find anything about anyone but simply because of their humanness. They're a human, and begin to start thinking about those things, because once that gratitude starts to fill your mind and heart, it opens you up to potential. It opens you up to what could be, because you can't, gratitude and dissatisfaction can't be in the same headspace at the same time. And so that's really going to help a couple like that hopefully kickstart the, well, maybe we should talk about this, or maybe we should talk about that, or I really appreciate when you did that, or you do that, or I appreciate when you did, even if it's not to you, but maybe something that your spouse did to a friend or your children or something like that. Gratitude's a very powerful tool.
We always say, get curious. So
stay curious. Yes.
And
at that point, get there.
Yeah.
Get
and
curious.
it's like, so
great point.
So how are you doing? Like, what do you need? How has work been? You know, the more curious that you can get about the other person in the relationship, the more intimacy you're building. Because again, going back to Summer and Assad's episode, it's like you're learning their love map. It's like you're mapping the course of their heart, and you're understanding those things.
What's one thing after this year that you appreciate about me?
I appreciate that you go the distance in hard conversations. It's like you're always very open, very transparent, and like when we're walking through some conflict and hard things, it's like you always try to bring it back to truth of the word, and sometimes it annoys me, but it's like, I think what it does though is it helps counteract the lies that could potentially breed dissatisfaction within marriage, and I appreciate that about you.
Oh, thank you. I get to say the appreciation about you, because I know
hate this.
I know you. Okay. I know you hate this. Gratitude, remember? We just talked about it. One thing that I appreciate about you since starting this podcast, you have driven me and encouraged me to really look to do inside work, because as you know, we go back and forth leading the podcast and kind of stuff like that, and whoever leads the podcast is kind of the one who kind of drives the conversation. When you lead many times, I'm learning. I am learning a lot from you, and it inspires me to think about walking the journey of being better internally. And I just really appreciate that. And I see it more now. You know, I see you in your seat every morning and you do your stuff, but seeing the result, not only in how you live, seeing that our whole life, but hear you talk about it on a more expansive way, it's just inspiring. And so I really appreciate that, because it shows that what you say, you don't just say it, you actually do it. And in this regard, you actually do it before you say it, which is very interesting. Many people talk about it first, and then they come to the point of doing it. You've actually done it, that you can talk about it, and that's really cool. That's really neat.
That's really sweet. Okay, moving on. No, I do appreciate it. Okay. That is really nice.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
It just makes me so uncomfortable.
No, I know. Yeah, just take it.
Okay. What do you want for year 2?
Okay, so year 2. So we talked about our goals. I would love our podcast to reach more people, and I would love for our podcast to double in its viewership and listenership, and truly from the bottom of my heart, it's not for anything other than more people hopefully being encouraged. There's only two important relationships on this planet. The very first one is your relationship with Jesus. The second one is the relationship with your spouse. That relationship, one was born in heaven and came to this earth. And for those that lean into that divine, truly, the Bible says to become one. There's a real spiritual dynamic that happens when that truly does happen. You become one. And the fulfillment that comes as a result of that relationship is one that I want everyone to experience. For those that desire to get married, if you don't get married, it's fine. But for those who do get married, to stay the course, because there's such incredible potential and power in a marriage, not only that stays married, but that shows up for each other and maintains and does the work to stay married. That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's my desire.
Yeah, I love that, because I think a strong marriage like encourages other people.
100%.
And it like has that ripple effect.
Yep.
One of the things that I think is so exciting, because in January we set our podcast goals, but it hadn't been a year yet. And we were like, oh, for year 2, we want to do a marriage conference, which we're doing. So that's exciting. And so May 29th and 30th, we're doing a marriage conference at our church. And so everyone's invited.
The Rhythm Marriage Conference.
The Rhythm Marriage
here
Conference.
In Escondido, California.
Yes. And so that's a really exciting. And then I just felt like the same, like our goals were pretty much aligned. Like I had the conference as kind of like a goal, and then just growing in exposure and just reaching more married couples. And I also think that, again, it's like getting our viewership a little bit more consistent, because the more effort that we're putting into our marriage instead of going into crisis mode, it's like that it just stays top of mind, and we're able to nurture that relationship on a regular basis, not in just crisis.
And friends, this is how you can help us in that. You can like you can share,
tag,
comment, all the things, because what that does is it gets the algorithms moving, that people are engaging with it. And so even if maybe this episode wasn't the best for you or other episodes, it doesn't matter. Just get it moving, because truly, I mean, I hope you would know that we're really sincere people. It's really the mission of encouraging marriages. It truly is. We have jobs outside of this. We get nothing. We get nothing from doing this podcast, other than it's a mission of our heart and a ministry to us to do that. And so we just want it to get out there to the most people, to just encourage the one. And maybe you've been the one, maybe you have a one, whatever the case, that's where you can really help push this out to other people so that everybody can get a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah. And again, always go to our website. We have lots of resources on there. We have an Enneagram assessment. If you are interested in that, we also have an Enneagram mini course. That's only $26 or $27. I can't remember. And we're soon to come. We're coming out with a Marriage 101 course, and which is all online driven and all digital.
We may talk about communication.
In one of the segments.
And maybe,
so definitely go to our website, sign up for the things, and also just check out our social media, and we'll be posting also about the upcoming marriage conference. So if you're local, we would love to see you there.
Absolutely.
And thank you for celebrating with us our 1 year.
Good job, honey.
We did this.
We did do this. Hey, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.